Hello, welcome back to Guidancy Education channel. In this video, we are going to discuss ray optics, and under that topic, we will be discussing optical instruments. We will discuss a few optical instruments, but before we really pass on to optical instruments, we will first discuss human eye and eye defects. We will also be discussing the remedy for the eye defects. In general, we have to see three eye defects, namely myopia or short-sightedness, hypermetropia or long-sightedness, and presbyopia. But before we really start the video, please watch the video completely. Do not skip it, because in this video I am going to discuss the structure of the eye very briefly so that you can understand what is the reason for certain defects and how it can be remedied using proper lenses in spectacles. Okay. And if you think the video is useful, like the video, share the video, and also leave your comments in the comment box below. Please do not forget to subscribe and press the bell button so that you get intimated as soon as videos are posted. Thank you very much. Now let us see the structure of the human eye. We are not going to deal with the anatomy of the human eye in detail. You have already learned that in your smaller classes. We will be just mentioning those parts which are essential for understanding image formation and defects along with correction of defects. Okay, I have already prepared a diagrammatic sketch of a sectional view of the eye. Let us see the parts. The innermost layer, which is photosensitive, is the retina. This portion is the crystalline lens, the lens with which we are born. And the lens is held in position with the help of special type of muscles called ciliary muscles. The crystalline lens and ciliary muscles have enormous elasticity, by virtue of which the focal length of the lens can be adjusted so as to see distant and near objects. That ability is called power of accommodation. The front portion of the eyeball is transparent and it is called cornea. Since this is transparent, light rays can easily pass. Lying in front of the lens, there is a small opening in the inner layer called pupil. This is to allow light into the eye. In our eyes, what we see is only the white of the eye and the dark disc-like portion. That disc-like portion is represented by this portion, and in the center of that there is a small opening which we call pupil. The size of the pupil get automatically adjusted with reference to the availability of light. Okay. Now, lying in front of the lens, there is a chamber filled with a fluid called aqueous humor, and the chamber is called aqueous chamber. Behind the lens, there is a chamber called vitreous chamber, which is filled with vitreous humor. This is the optic nerve. The photosensitive layer forms the image, and the impulses are generated, and the impulses are carried through the optic nerve to the center in the brain, where it is interpreted, analyzed, and all the details of the object is understood there. Okay. Now we will see the path of light. Let us suppose the object is in air. Then from air strikes the cornea, enters the aqueous chamber, passes through aqueous humor, strikes the lens, passes through the lens, and then enters vitreous chamber and passes through vitreous humor, and then finally forms the image at a point on the retina. Let us note down those parts: air, cornea, aqueous humor, lens, and vitreous humor. All of them have different refractive indices. So all of these media play a very important role in formation of the image. So refraction takes place in each medium, and then the image is formed at this point. Okay. Now let us see the details of power of accommodation. We already mentioned power of accommodation is the ability of the eye to see far and near objects. We will discuss the changes that take place in the eye so as to adjust its focal length while viewing distant objects and near objects. First we will take distant objects. We will just note far objects. Ciliary muscles will be most relaxed. The curvature of the lens will be least. Therefore, focal length will be maximum. So, the image of distant objects get focused on the retina. We will note it down. For ciliary muscles, we will simply write CM. In the normal eye, when a distant object is viewed, the focal length, which is maximum, will be as much as 2.5 centimeter. The greatest distance which the eye can focus on the retina is called far point. Let us note it by capital D. We are not using F here to denote far point because we don't want to get confused with focal length. In the normal eye, the far point is equal to infinity. That is, we can see objects at great distances if the eye is normal. Now, let us see what happens while we view near objects. The ciliary muscles lengthen, that it gets stretched. So, tension on ciliary muscle increases. As a result, the lens gets compressed. It becomes more bulged. That is, curvature increases. When curvature increases, the focal length decreases. We will note it. The closest point which the eye can focus on the retina is called near point. We will note it by the letter small d. As age advances, the distance of near point goes on increasing. That is, when age advances, one is more comfortable with objects kept at a distance than closer to the eye. Okay. Near point is otherwise known as least distance of distinct vision. We will see the next point, that is range of vision. From what we discussed till now, we know that we can see those objects which fall between capital D and small d. That is between far point and near point. If objects are beyond capital D or closer than near point, those objects cannot be viewed properly. This distance, that is distance between capital D and small d, is called range of vision. Hope these points are clear. Now we will pass on to discuss common eye defects and its correction. Now we will see the first eye defect, myopia or short-sightedness. I have shown here three diagrams A, B and C. A represents the normal eye, wherein the image of distant objects is correctly focused on the retina. There is no problem in vision. And here, in the case of normal eye, the far point capital D is equal to infinity. B is a myopic eye, wherein the image of distant objects, instead of focusing on the retina, falls in front of the retina. So, there is problem in vision. We will see why it is so. Figure C shows myopic eye, wherein image of near objects fall directly on the retina. There is no problem in viewing near objects. So from this you can understand, in a myopic patient, distant objects cannot be focused on the retina. Near objects can be focused on the retina. Now, what could be the reason for this? The reason for this defect is that in myopic patients, the eyeball is longer than the normal eyeball. So, in effect, the retina seems to be pushed backwards. That is, the distance of the retina from the lens is greater than that in the normal eye. And another reason could be the elasticity of the lens is lost. It cannot focus images of distant objects on the retina. The reason is the focal length of the lens when the ciliary muscles are most relaxed is much less than focal length of the lens of the normal eye when these ciliary muscles are most relaxed. I have used only a diagrammatic representation of the eye. So, the eye might appear as of the same size, but really the eyeball is elongated around the back so that the retina seems to be pushed backwards. Okay. Now, we will note the reason for myopia. So, what happens in the case of myopic patients is that far point D is not equal to infinity. The far point gets shifted towards the eye to a point closer to the eye. So they have difficulty in focusing distant objects onto the retina. They have no difficulty in seeing nearer objects. Now let us see the correction for myopia. Myopia is corrected by using concave lenses of suitable focal length. The concave lens is chosen in such a manner that its focal length is suitable focusing the image of the distant object at point D1. Let us discuss how this is done. When a concave lens of such suitable focal length is used in front of the eye, rays coming from the far off object comes and strikes the concave lens and gets refracted, that is diverged along this direction. When these rays are extended backwards, they come and coincide at one point. That point should be equal to D1, which is the shifted position of the far point for the normal eye. Then an image is formed here, and this image will function as the virtual object for the crystalline lens of the eye, and the image will get shifted from this point in front of the retina to the point on the retina. Now the person is able to see. The focal length should be chosen with a reference to how much this far point has been shifted forward. That depends upon how far the eyeball is elongated. So that was one of the reasons. I hope this is clear. We will meet in the next video with the next eye defect, namely hypermetropia or long-sightedness. Thank you.